All right, now we're getting into the spice now. We're going to talk about Felicia Always Hungry. 1 inkable, 3-1 reckless.
Oh yeah, and classic reckless stat line means no questing for you, Felicia. So don't even think about it. I love Felicia. I think she's great. I don't know. I think it's just like an important removal tool. Captain Hook, Forceful Duelist, was so impactful just as like a three strength attacker, chunking into all the other 1-drops in the format and also getting a lot of the 2-drops and a surprising amount of 3-drops. I swear, now that Felicia has arrived, I don't want to see no Cheshire Cat 3s. I mean, come on, guys. Cheshire Cat, that card was already so bad. Stop putting it in your green decks, please. I'm begging you. This
but
cat
they just printed a payoff for it, Leonard.
I mean, that card is also a trap. Sorry, Cheshire Cat fans. That card's always been bad.
I'm with you on that one.
But you're not with me on Felicia, right? You're not sold on Felicia.
No. First, I want to say that the TCG player for the foil is $440, so clearly you're onto something. Because
yeah, dude, I'm telling you, Felicia's the truth, mate.
The biggest issue I have with Felicia is right now the way the format currently stands at week 0, like day like -5 or whatever. It's fine. You know, people are playing a lot of early characters. And that's where Felicia's strength really shines, is because, as you said before, she trades with all of the 1s, she trades with most of the 2s, and she trades with some of the 3s. But when your opponent has built their deck with it in mind, it becomes a card that you like never want to play. And that's the reason why I think it's unplayable. Except for, we'll get into the corner case when we talk about
yeah, there's some spice that goes along with Felicia.
There's some spice that
might change the math, but it's not in the color ruby, so we'll get into that later.
Yeah, but, it just doesn't change the math from being unplayable. In the corner case we're talking about, it will change the math. But let's move on.
For me, because I already have Felicia at Unbeatable.
Dude, $16 for your foil playset. Let's go.
Yeah. We just need to get big enough for Disney to sponsor us, then we'll be on the free roll. It's the only way to get product.
Yeah, all right. All right, Shere Khan, Menacing Predator. 3 inkable, 3/3, 1 lore. Don't insult my intelligence. Whenever one of your character challenges another character, gain 1 lore. This card's great.
Yeah, what the heck is up with this card? It doesn't really have a weakness. The decent stat line, you can ink it, it's cheap, it's got a really good effect.
Its weakness is that you can only play 4 of them.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not mad at it. Like, and it's also like it's a great build around. Like, again, I'm really confused about the design team's decision about what is and is not allowed to be inkable. But that's neither here nor there. This is inkable. That's great. Shere Khan's great. Unbeatable.
Yeah, Unbeatable. We don't really. It's pretty easy to evaluate this card. The fact that he just gains free lore is like might just win you the game out of nowhere if you have a board stall. You don't even have to like.
Yeah, it also wombo combo with the Emerald Beast 6 Relentless that we didn't talk about because he's just good and not really that much to discuss. But is a combo with this, generate a bunch of lore out of nowhere while clearing your opponent's board. Combo like makes all your reckless guys better. Get some stuff in there on the way out with them, generate a little free value on that way, like make your Felicia get a lore on her way out. Doesn't seem that bad. And then it's just good all around. Like, it's crazy.
And then you play the second one and your opponent dies.
And also not even the only attacking build around in this color, and not even the only attacking build around in this color that we are going to be talking about on this list, because you better believe that we're also talking about the Queen of Hearts.
Let's talk about the small one first, because I just want to.
Okay. So
Impulsive Ruler. 2 inkable, 2/2.
I'll let you get into what she does before I talk over you anymore.
Yeah, it's fine. GS Rush. I want to talk about this card. The fact that this card exists means if you don't know your opponent's second color, you have to play around this card. Otherwise, you're just gonna lose to it and look foolish.
I'm man enough to admit when I got something wrong. When I first saw this, I was just like, Rush on a 2-ink 2/2. Who cares? Unplayable. Big deal. Whatever. Then not only did I see the thing that this shifts into, which I think is very playable, but also I realized there's an abundance of 1 strength 1/1s that are going to be kicking around. Cinderella 1, who I'm in love with, Maleficent 1, Lilo, all these ding dongs. And
No
also,
love for Simba one.
oh yeah, Symbol 1 for people that are still playing that card. I don't know why. There's another. The card pool is doubled. Symbol 1 had his time to shine. It is time for him to retire. We can even say he retired undefeated. You did it, champ. Like, now sit down. You and Cheshire Cat retire to the farm up north. But yeah, I just think that, like, actually it turns out that 2-ink 2/2 rush is a perfectly cromulent stat line, and then you get Queen of Hearts sensing weakness.
Queen of Hearts sensing weakness, 5 inkable, 4/3, 1 lore, shift 2, let the game begin. Whenever one of your characters challenge another character, you may draw a card. Yeah, right. Like, so they want red to attack, and there's just a lot of stuff that makes you want to attack.
Yeah, and you know the like, even if it ends up being that attacking isn't good in this particular format, again, like in a weird format where it turns out that it's all control decks or whatever, like, attacking will probably be good at some point, and the designers clearly do want combat to be like a tremendous part of the game. So it just, like, and this is a lot of value. I think one of my favorite parts about this card is that it's sort of like, it's a build around to the sense that it makes you want to do. You're not jumping through a hoop so much as it rewards you for taking, like, normal game actions and not trying to, like, skirt stuff by doing, like, a wacky nonsense thing. This feels very just traditionally red aggro. Like, hey, guess what you want your minions to be doing? They want to be attacking. You turn them sideways. So I huge marks. I just love Queen of Hearts. Even if she ends up not being, like, the best red card in the set or whatever, high marks for me. I think she's unbeatable.
Yeah, I just want to mention that she triggers whenever. So she triggers on herself, which is just more icing on the cake. I think right now the only thing about this card is that they're just missing Queen of Hearts 1. If there was a Queen of Hearts 1, I think this card would be unbeatable. Without it, I think it is quite whelming.
How dare you? Although there's a chance we get a Queen of Hearts 1 at some point, and then
like once we get, I have I'm of the opinion that we'll eventually get it, and this card will jump up in value when that happens. Because let's just say that, like, being able to curve into a 4/3 on turn 2 and draw a card in challenge is a lot of value for not a lot of work.
Oh, wait a minute! I do have to call it out because it is very important to the game of Disney Lorcana. This is another minion that you can shift for 2 that technically costs 5, and it can sing all the broken steel songs.
So, yeah, when you were talking about, I was actually thinking about Ruby Steel. I was like, I could do some cool things with that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, a whole new world and Grab Your Sword are both powerful enough effects that 5-ink stat line is incredibly important. So, like, I'm going to try to remember to call it out when it's relevant.
Yeah. Well, let's get on to the last Ruby card we're going to be talking about. The Dinner Bell, 4 uninkable item. You know what happens. Tap 2 ink, draw cards equal to the damage on chosen characters of yours, then banish them. The reason I wanted to talk about this card is I brought it up in the set review. Two brooms from set 1, and this card is just a way to not deck yourself ever. So that's just, like, if you cared about that kind of style of Ruby Amethyst, if you include those 3 cards in your deck and you don't ink any of the brooms, you will never deck out.
Oh, that's why you're talking about this card?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to talk about this card because if you have this out and then you Maui them, your Maui is either getting you 2 cards or, like, 5 cards.
You did. I mean, that's just pure upside in that deck. It's just the reason why I wanted to talk about it is because it's something to consider.
I just think this card. I think this card is I think a lot of people are sleeping on this card, and that I don't see a lot of that much chatter about it. I think this card has a lot of potential upside. I think that Maui is probably right now the best. The use for it, just because, like, it's not unheard of for you to have 7 or more ink and to just Maui into something that has 4 strength, and you're just like, draw 4 cards. So I'm high on card velocity, and I think that ways to get it in colors that were lacking it in the first set is worth considering. So I'm high on Dinner Bell, and that means I'm giving it an unbeatable.
The reason it's just the way that when I've constructed Ruby Amethyst control is that the uninkable items, the slots were a little tough sometimes because you had to play a bunch of other uninkables. But with set 2, lots of new good inkable cards, so we'll see what happens.
Fair. Also, not everybody's going to be teaming up their Ruby with Amethyst. You dig?
It's true. I'm currently testing a list that is Sapphire Amethyst with some cards that we'll talk about.